So, okay, cool. So the next area we wanted to discuss was around ignorance and, you know, could you sort of, I suppose you've probably got loads of stories you could explain around prejudice that you've faced and that sort of thing.
So I, first of all, just have to check the privilege I have. So I, by any mean, shape or form, I haven't had that sort of terrible life. My family all over the world, some live in America, some live here. They've just been proud and supportive of me as an individual, no matter who I am, who I bring home, what I dress up as. And I have not had the worst of it, let me tell you. But in that as well, I have had, so when entering sort of business world, you are sort of seen as somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. So I run the biscuit practically alone, and that is the most successful business event in our region, and I do say region, and obviously people help me put it together. I bounce ideas off people. I'm never saying that it's all me. It's never all me. And there have been processes that have come along the way that have refined those. But you aren't really seen as an expert in the field. You aren't really seen as somebody that knows what they're talking about. Now, that might also be because of my age, and I understand that. And there's a lot of subliminal ageism and subconscious ageism in business, as I have found in the past few years. But there is almost like some sort of filter that you have to push through and break through. And they sort of talk about it a lot about disadvantages in life. So if you are a white cis, so cisgendered is the gender you are born with, just to make you aware of that. So if you're a white cisgendered male, you have the most opportunity in life at the moment. However, if you are a cisgendered white female, you have similar opportunity, but you sort of knock off one, for instance. Okay. If you are an LGBT person, you knock off one if you are a white person. Okay. And then, if you are a LGBT plus person that is feminine, you're down two. Because you've got the feminine and you've got the LGBT. So when it comes to sort of prejudice in life, we have this thing in society where women are not as, well, have this thing in society where women are not as equal as men. So when you are that more feminine character, which I am, you are not seen as seriously as other members of the room. And that also, again, might force you into a stereotype. That also forces people to stereotype you. And I think at one point, the most annoying thing that happened to me was I then became the LGBT beacon. I then became this superhero flying around with a rainbow cape. Because at the time, people didn't know who else to talk to, which is absolutely fine. But also as well, I can't speak on every issue. I can't speak on, because I only have one life that I've lived in this setting, you know. So I only can speak from where I have come from, and that is a middle-class, white, privileged background. I was always supported. I wasn't a lower working class person that was beaten up or, you know, that kind of thing. I don't have those kind of experiences. But so the prejudice that I've sort of felt is that just around business, there's always this veil of, you don't really know what you're talking about, you don't really know what you're doing. And again, like I said, that might be down to age, but also as well, I think because, you know, I have quite a feminine persona, there is also this sort of veil around, oh, that person, and I have that every single year. Every single year someone says to me, oh, especially around biscuit time, oh, thank goodness that you had all these people on hand. Well, no, I did the majority of it myself. And ignorance, I think there's two types of ignorance. So there's ignorance, which I don't really call ignorance. That's sort of, to me, more not knowing. So like yourself, for instance, I wouldn't call you ignorant because you have given me the space to talk about this. You want to know more. You just don't know because that's not your experience.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, I can't judge you for not knowing what to say and what to do because you don't know. That's literally like asking me a maths question and me not knowing the answer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I'm not very good at maths, so I can't give you that answer straight away. I can go out and research it, find it, bring it back to you. And then then there is ignorance, which is, I know about it, I'm aware of it, I know I shouldn't be saying stuff like this, I know it's not acceptable, but I'm doing it anyway. So one of the comments I've received before about running events is, I don't know if I can come to your event because I think people would think I am gay. Now, wholly inappropriate, wholly outrageous, because I never walk into an event going, oh, well, I wonder if people are going to think I'm straight. And that's the thing. That's the kind of ignorance that just isn't really right, you know, and you can't, and that does affect sales, and that does affect, you know, the productivity of the event. And also as well, or other comments that I've had in the past, which is, oh, that's all just a bit too much. Well, who's it too much for? Because at the end of the day, all it is a product that I'm trying to sell you. If you don't want it, absolutely fine. We'll move on to the next person, somebody else will. But there are those, and that's possibly also another level of prejudice where they just slap a label on, if you're LGBTQIA+, they sort of slap a label of, oh, it's very out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't fit inside my little black box of whatever I think is acceptable, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, like, and that might be because the people they've dealt with are, I can't think of the word now. It's there in my brain. I just can't reach the forefront of my brain.
I'll speak for a moment, can I? But
sure.
Yeah, so I think one of the points you're making is around the link between people thinking whether you're competent based on sex, gender, whether you're LGBT plus, you know, and competence. They're not mutually exclusive. They're not mutually inclusive. They're actually two different things. You know, regardless of what you do or what you do in your spare time or how you feel about things, competence is something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And surely you should be measured based on the results of what you've achieved. Yeah. And therefore, with the biscuit, if you take an objective approach to that, the biscuit over the last couple of years has grown and expanded, and it has become the biggest event in the region. And therefore, it's fair to say, as the linchpin or the key focus of that actually, from a competence point of view, regardless of what happens, you should be seen as the person who makes that happen.
Yeah, and that's yes, but I don't know if that's just because we're both from Peterborough. I don't know if that's just the Peterborough bubble effect.
Yes.
I don't know, or if that's wider, because I haven't been to other business sort of centres and seen and sort of known that. I mean, it probably would be different in London,
Yeah.
and possibly Cambridge. I don't really know. I've never really been in there, but especially locally, yeah, you have to have I've found that you have to either be super qualified, as in have all your certificates and everything else, else you're not seen as that. But yeah, there are those slight hurdles. I mean, I fortunately work in my family business, so I've always had support. And even if I wasn't working there, my mum and dad would have exactly the same approach, because they have the approach across the board. No one can speak to any staff member in a derogatory way. No one, can talk about anybody not being able to do anything, and that's staff and clients as well. So, and we have no issue cutting them off if they do overstep the mark, because at the end of the day, we're a company that doesn't want to work with those kind of people, and or have those people in our business. So I it is. It's not as sitting here. I cannot say I've never not been able to have a job because of the way I look, because of what I do.
Yeah.
And I know that there are other people that have had that, and just based on the colour of their skin, or because their name isn't an English name, and that isn't right. So I'm not, by no way means saying that it's anything like that at all. But you still get it, and it's not as bad as that. But it is still jarring, and also it doesn't help you trying to sort of pursue your own career and your own thoughts. But yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I say, it's not been as bad as other people's, but yeah.
No, okay, I understand.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate your time. Please do follow me at Pete Rushmer on LinkedIn, or on Facebook, follow Flagship Training UK, and you can find us on YouTube too at Flagship UK.